What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Tonight, we got a guest-style white dude, grew up on the south side of Chicago, in a black gang, ends up in the feds, ends up in a black car. We're going to talk about it. But, hey, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and let's talk about you and your life.
Yo, what's up? My name's Alfred. Used to be called White Lord, White C, from the south side of Chicago. Grew up a vice lord, conservative. 43 years old right now. Just got out the feds of Phoenix, FCI, and in and out of prison in Illinois.
We're going to talk about, what it was like for you growing up on the south side of Chicago. What's it like for a white dude growing up over there?
It's rough. There ain't many white people over there. I seen a few of them that was raised over there. They were opposition gang members, but it was rough not being accepted by black people over there that didn't know you. Even the people that did know you, faked it on you sometimes. It was just dangerous.
I mean, Chicago's known for violence. I mean, there's all kinds of murders, all kinds of things going on over there. But I want to talk about your life and you growing up. What was your family life like? What was your father like and your mother?
My father, he's from Mexico. He drove semis my whole life. My mom, she stripped for a living. She used to be the candy lady, babysat for people on the south side.
Why'd you guys end up living in that neighborhood?
I was born and raised over there. My family been there since the 50s. It used to be an all-white neighborhood, Polacks, which is Polish people, and Puerto Ricans. And then it flipped over in like 1973 before I was born. And the rent's cheap over there, houses, everything.
We're going to get into some of that stuff. There's a reason why I asked that, because so many people are growing up in poverty and, turning to that gang life and the people that they look up to, especially over there. I mean, they just denied Jeff Fort's compassionate release. Your boy, Larry Hoover, I shouldn't say your boy, but Larry Hoover's got a compassionate release motion in. We're going to put a video up about that. He's still in the feds because the feds have said in that district that judges didn't have the power, but now the Sentencing Commission changed it. So mark my words, I think Larry Hoover's going to win. Jeff Fort lost. I mean, in Chicago, those are two dudes that are looked up to. Like, yo, those dudes. They're those dudes, right?
Yeah, they the dudes, man. They the founders. The way it is now, the new generation from 30 plus years ago is totally different now, though. The younger generation is like they have no respect. They don't follow their principles. It's all about clicking now on what you got. I don't think Larry's going to get out. I think he's going to end up doing life in the state because that's what he was sentenced to. But that's better than being in Florence, Colorado. He's been there locked up since 96.
I think he's been in the ADX for about 25 years. But,
yeah.
Talk about, those are them dudes. I mean, Jeff Ford's been in there 40 years. Larry's been in there probably around the same amount of time. Been in the ADX for 25 years. So really, man, they were those dudes, but now they're the dudes that have suffered for many, many years, for their gang and the things that they were involved in. So, when there's young kids in Chicago, do they glamorize these gangs?
Definitely, all day, every day. You can't, I don't believe you can find one person that ain't claiming a mob. I ain't gonna say organization because there ain't no organization no more. Ain't nothing organized anymore in Chicago. Them days are over with.
Tell the people what gang you were in.
I was a conservative vice lord.
Conservative vice lord. How does a white dude get involved as a conservative vice lord?
I was born and raised right in the block, right in the hood where on the south side of Chicago, 56 and Damon. I'm actually plugged in from the next block over on 55th. But just put my heart and soul into it, man. I could have claimed anything else, but it was just, they were there at the time,
Being white, your father was Mexican, your mother's white. Were you accepted by the homies in the neighborhood?
I was accepted by that I know of, yeah. Growing up, yeah. There's still people over there now, younger generation, that look at me crazy, think I'm the police, or don't know history, Don't know about the first white people to ever become vice lords, because now vice lord, all the black gangs in Chicago is multi-race now. Mexicans, blacks, whites, you know what I mean? I ain't never seen no natives talk out over this West Coast, so that I'm pretty sure, I don't know if there's any over there.
Yeah.
Every white person say they're Indian.
You end up going to prison when you're 17. What do you go to prison for?
I went for possession with intent to deliver. I took the rap for a charge that had nothing to do with me, trying to prove myself, look like I was cool and tough and like I was taking one for the team. Didn't do nothing but backfire.
How much time are you sentenced to?
I got 8 years. I did 3.5 years on it because they give out good time. There's 50%.
And that's in Illinois, right?
Illinois, yes.
But what's the first prison that you go to? What's it like for you? White dude, vice lord, you're walking into, the Illinois Department of Corrections when they were getting busy back then. It was popping back then. What's it like?
Back then you had to go through receiving like R&D. That was through Joliet Correctional Center, which was actually a maximum penitentiary. A lot of heavies were there, but that was the receiving. Locked down all day. Nothing but bars on, no doors, straight bars. You hear people yelling all night, gang banging all night. And it was rough. It was scary at 17 years old. But, I made it through Cook County, one of the most dangerous county jails in the United States. And it was rough there.
I've seen some videos from Cook County. What was that? I should have asked you that first. What was Cook County like for you? I mean, any physical altercations?
The only physical altercations I had in Cook County was my pride in trying to prove myself because I was white. Here I am on a deck with 150 people, and I'm the only white dude on the deck. It's just Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and blacks. And they put you with your own people in Cook County. They don't mix gangs on the deck because of the issues. But from time to time, they'll do it in the max divisions, because they got divisions there.
Or feel like being a white, vice lord, that you were a target whenever there was an issue, like, yo, we're going to get the white boy?
No, I ain't never had an issue like that. Like I said, it ain't like the feds. If there'd have been a race riot in the feds, I'd probably been the first one to get hit. But like I said, in Illinois, there ain't no politics. There ain't no cars where you either under the 5-point star or you're under the 6-point star in Illinois. So, it ain't no race thing. Who you could be in the cell with, eat with, work out with. Ain't none of that.
Around the yard that Larry Hoover was on?
Yeah, I was in the yard. I was in Dixon Correctional Center. I got there in 1997, and I wasn't there a month. He left and went to Vienna, which was a minimum, and nobody knew how he got there with his life sentence. But he ended up getting popped off. So one of his boys talking in the visiting room, and visitor world camera and a microphone, and got him, and he talked on the phone too much.
What was it like being on the yard with him? Dudes look at him like, yo, man, that's the king right there.
It was intimidating because you never know what's going to happen, because back then, if my guys, we didn't mess with oppositions, anybody under the 6 back then. Now it's different. Now you got everybody under the 5-point star and the 6-point star. They kick it together and click it and try to call to get money, and they together. But back then it was dangerous. I couldn't just walk up to him and talk to him, which I never talked to Larry before ever. I was actually too intimidated to even try.
It's all good, man. I mean, you're a young white dude. You probably yeah. Talking to Larry Hoover, right?
Yeah, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to get up and talk to him. He had like 20, 25 people on security at all times. He used to walk around the yard, and you couldn't even see him because so many people was around him.
Let me ask you this. You talk about it being dangerous, but a lot of people tuning in, they don't really know. Some of them never experienced prison. Tell us about what's so dangerous. What type of violence is going on in there?
Back in the 90s, it was dangerous because you couldn't get caught. Like if I was leaving the building, I couldn't be they call it lacking. I couldn't be behind where the GDs or BDs will come by. They're gonna get you sleeping. They call you catch you sleeping. They'll stab you. They hit you with soap socks, locks in the socks, stuff like that. But ain't really no stabbings like that. You know, those are cases in the state. You get an outside case for a weapon.
Was there any, like, little riots between the vice lords and the GDs, anything like that in there?
Yeah, and you had riots, but mostly a lot of the violence was towards the police. You know what I mean? If you was on the yard and they knew you weren't good and you was constantly talking to the police, like in the feds, you got to have a witness with you. You got to have one of your homies there while you're talking. And the state back then was basically the same way. But you had people that was working for Internal Affairs, which is SIS and the feds. And they were getting paid to give them information and stuff like that. But they were getting dealt with.
Say they were getting dealt with. What does that mean?
Oh, they were getting whooped. They'd get jumped on or get their head busted or get caught outside on the yard. Someone would hit them with a weight, because all the prisons in Illinois got weights. They'll hit them with a dumbbell or a baseball bat.
And you end up, you do that 3.5 years, you come home, you're a young man. What's your perspective on life when you're walking out? Are you like, man, I'm done with the prison shit, I'm done with the gang life, I'm getting my life together? Or were you like, yo, I'm back out here?
Everybody make plans. And everybody have a plan A and a plan B, but I always learned plan B was meant for failure to me. Because every time I had a good plan and I had something going on, as soon as I got to that gate, my whole plans changed. I got out the penitentiary, thought I was tough, thought I was on top of the world, I'm cool. Got to end up getting some size on me back then, yet when I was younger, and I just thought I was cool. I was bragging when I got to Chicago. I just got out of prison, and it really wasn't what happened. It was just a revolving door, man. In and out, in and out.
So you get out. How long are you out before you catch your next case?
Man, I've never been out months. I went right back in 2000. I went right back with a aggravated battery. Got out 2004, April. Went right back 3 months later for a robbery. Got out 2009, went back 2010, got out 2012, went back 13. I've been in and out. I got out the state in 2016. And the feds grabbed me in when I took off over here to Arizona in 2021.
So you're just kind of doing life on an installment plan, in and out, in and out, in and out.
That's all I knew. I couldn't get away from the garbage. You know what I mean? I started dipping and dabbing, getting high and drinking, hanging around the wrong people. So yeah, but I've been clean and sober since 16.
Any kids? You have any kids in between?
Yeah, I have kids. I have 5 kids. My oldest daughter's 26, but I was never in their life. You know what I mean? So there's really not much contact with them anymore.
I asked you about that. You're in and out of prison. You got kids. Does it ever hurt you, man, when you're laying in your cell? You ever think like, damn, man, I got a son, or man, I got a little girl out there that needs her dad?
Man, it happens to the best of us, man. Like I said, I've always thought about the good stuff and the positive stuff while I was in prison before I got out. But when I got out, that reality, it didn't matter to me. I wanted to go back out there and gang bang and party and run around and shoot at people and drive-bys and ridiculous stuff.
We talk about shooting at people in drive-bys, right? Other gang members, you're like, yo, man, it's our opposition, man. I'm about to pop one of these dudes.
Yeah, because in Chicago, once you leave your neighborhood, it's an opposition. It's a totally different gang. And it's like green light on anybody. Like in the feds, you're green lighted wherever you go. You can't wear your hat a certain way. You can't have a different color on. Are they going to get you? Like at nighttime in Chicago, you can't stop at a stop sign or a stoplight or a gas station because you got GDs there. So you screwed. You could be driving down the street 2 in the morning, your gas tank on E, but there's a gas station right there. You can't go there because they're going to brick your car and shoot you up. That's how bad it is.
when you talk about shooting at people and stuff like that, right? You think about the consequences, like, yo, we're about to pop these dudes. You ever think, man, I could end up with a life sentence?
I didn't care. And at the time I was doing it, I didn't care. My thing was I thought I was invisible when I really wasn't, because the same thing I'm doing, someone that I'm with's gonna tell on me. It always happens. It's always your best friend be your enemy. That's how I looked at it.
Always, always something, right?
Man, it's always something.
Let me ask you this now. You end up, you do all this time, you get out, you're down in Arizona. You go to state prison in Arizona?
No, I'd never been to state prison in Arizona. I was actually on parole, state parole in Illinois, and me and my wife, which I got married to her in 2016, great woman. She was going to leave me in 2016 if I didn't get clean and stop the street life. So I quit right there, went to the courthouse. I was on bond for another case while on parole. Went to courthouse, got married. Ended up beating the case. But I ended up going back on a violation in 16 and got out on parole. And I took off. I drove all the way over here from Chicago, and they charged me interstate commerce, cross the state lines without a written consent from my parole officer. So Illinois, you got 16 rules of parole. If you leave the state, you got to have a written consent with paperwork. You change your address, change jobs, move around like that. Change it. It's something that the marshal said should have went state. I should have just went to the state and got extradited back to Illinois, but it didn't happen.
End up in federal prison. You walk in there. How old are you when you walk into federal prison?
Let me see here. I think I was like 41. I'm 43 now. Because I instantly, once they arrested me here in Tucson, Arizona, I was working. The marshals surrounded me, but I've been watching the marshals on my house with the cameras on my phone, and I was watching them, but I still thought I got too comfortable. So they swarmed me right after I got to work. They swarmed me, took me to CCA, Florence, Arizona, where federal holding is.
You end up in a federal prison. What's it like for you when you walk in there? Then I asked you your age. What's it like for you, man? You walk in there right away. You're like, yo, man, I'm a gang member, man. I'm from Chicago.
I didn't know what to do when I got there. I didn't know what to do. I was going around asking questions because, and CCA, Florence, for federal holding, there wasn't many black dudes there. And there was only 3 on the deck with me. And they were so-called Crips. I ain't never met a Crip or a Blood in my life, only on TV. So I'm talking to everybody. I was trying to ride by myself. I was solo. But not there. The politics is, it's dangerous. It was dangerous there at CCA, believe it or not.
I've been in the CCA. People that are watching the show that've been there, they know. Them CCAs are unprofessional. The staff members are like people off the street.
Exactly.
Dangerous. Pretty much the prisoners tell the cops what to do. And, that creates a dangerous environment.
Yes, sir.
Talk about dangerous. What are some of the things you've seen at that CCA?
Man, I've seen stabbings there. What I see, I've seen people get stabbed. I've seen get beat with broomsticks. A lot of jumpings. People always jumping the next person. Where I'm from, you don't jump people like that. You know what I mean? Unless it's a hit that was put on someone and they're really bogus, it's a one-on-one fight in Illinois prison. If you jump somebody, you looked at it as a coward or other words, Couldn't do all that jumping.
Do you have any issues down there, yourself?
I actually had a issue over the phone. I was going to the phone. The phone lines are so big there, and on the deck, the Pisces, they call themselves Pisces. They're the deepest. So they go off numbers in the CCA, and like you had people in CCA claiming Pisces that was American just because of the numbers. You know what I mean? So they ran every deck. Pisces ran every deck. They tried to control everything. So basically in CCA in Florence, it was a Paisas against Americans. So all the American cars, Serenos, AZ cats, the native car, the white car, the black car, we all became one when it came a riot against the Paisas.
Did it pop off?
Oh, it popped off over that phone, yeah.
So what's going on when it pops off? Tell the people. People never seen this before.
Man, what started it, man, over the phone, I had a one of the Paisa homies try to tell me he was going to take the phone from me. I wasn't even in there for a week. And, you know, I called him out his name. I thought everything was good. I'm on the phone. I start seeing 30 Paisas start surrounding me. You know what I mean? So then I've always been cool with everybody, all races. It didn't matter to me what they were. But the couple of the white dudes, the white dudes maybe 10, 15 deep on the deck. They come up to me and asked me what's going on. And I was letting them know, man. And so they went and got the natives, the couple of the Serenos they had there, the AZ cats and the two or three black dudes. They all came over there and we tried to figure out what was going on. You know? But it wasn't like the feds with the respect. The please, thank you, excuse me. They don't do that there.
They don't do none of it. I mean, I've been in places where they thought they controlled things too. USP Lee at one time. There's about 100 Paisas on the yard there. So, you know, I know what you're talking about. So anyway, you end up in federal prison though, right?
Yeah.
So when you get to the Fed spot, are you riding with the white dudes? You riding with the black dudes, Midwest? I mean, what's your life like?
I was on gang time. Now, when I left, the day before I left Florence, they came and told me that I was leaving at 12 o'clock that night. They said, you're going to Tucson. I said, Tucson? I said, sweet. I said, I get to go to a town that my wife's in. Everybody else was like, no, don't go to, you don't want to go to Tucson. That's all high-class sex offenders and dropout yards. And so I'm asking everybody on the deck, what's Tucson? They telling me about it. And as soon as I got to Tucson and I got out, it was a FCI, Tucson. As soon as I got off the bus, you know, they put us through the little questioning with SIS and everything. And SIS was looking at all my tattoos because I got a whole bunch of Chicago stuff and gang tattoos. And they said, you in a gang? I was like, yeah, I'm a gang member. I said, I'm a vice lord from Chicago. They was like, you can't be here. And I was like, why I can't be here? They said, like, it's a dropout yard. I said, well, what's a dropout? And they were telling me that people that is working for the feds or denounced the gang, they running from people. So they put me up the street in the USP Tucson. I was in the shoe for 4.5 months, waiting to leave to go to Phoenix.
You're in the hole in USP Tucson. You see some dropout gang members when you go to rec?
Man, they put me in the rec cage separately. I had to have my own because I was active. They had active on my door as an active gang member. So there was some people there called 2-5ers and green lighters in the other cages. I've had them, spitting at me, trying to throw piss on me, telling me they're gonna kill me because I guess they go after active gang members.
Wow, that's news.
Yeah, that's great.
That's news to me. So anyway, you get out of Tucson, you go down to Phoenix, you get there, you tell the dudes right away, yo, I'm on gang time.
Exactly, instantly. As soon as I got there, as soon as I got on the deck for receiving, because we was locked down for 14 days because of COVID for quarantine. As soon as I get there, the first black dude I seen, I went straight up to him, and he happened to be a Crip from New Mexico. And he was an orderly there. He was the one doing all the cleaning. So I told him, I said, look, man, I'm from Chicago, man. I'm a gang member. I said, I roll black. And he was like, well, you got to ride with your guys on gang time. They got a coalition here for GDs, Vice Lords, and Stones. And I was like, well, what is that? And he basically told me that Crips and Bloods don't mess with anybody out of Chicago unless it's a race war.
So then you get grouped up with your people. I mean, do they accept you?
Yeah, there was only 5 of us down there. 2 of them I knew from the streets.
What's the reception like from the white dudes over there? There's some white dudes down there. I mean, do they accept you? Do they talk to you? Or are they like, yo, man, fuck that dude?
at first, like when I first went into my cell, I had a couple, it was like 2 or 3 of them come up to me and tell me, "Hey, brother, you in a black cell?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know I'm in a black cell. I roll black, man. I'm from Chicago. I'm a vice lord." And once people realized that I was from Chicago, it's like they understood that we don't have politics in the Midwest from Chicago. But a lot of the white dudes at first, they were like shocked. They were shell shocked because they were originally from Cali, Texas, New Mexico, Utah, stuff like that. So they run with that Nazi stuff, whatever that was called. But they end up, they were breaking their rules. Put it like this, they were breaking their rules with me that they weren't supposed to do. That's how cool I was with a lot of them.
What do you mean breaking their rules? Well, they're not supposed to associate with you?
They ain't supposed to eat with me, work out with me. I've done the best with the best. They considered Aryan Brotherhoods and Saxtons, whatever they call them, and then the people with the hammers. I've smoked cigarettes after them, ate out their bowl, hung out in their cell, got tattooed off of them. They weren't supposed to do that.
People, why they're not supposed to do that? Is that because you're considered black even though you're white?
Because I ran black. They couldn't do none of that with me.
You ran black, but the white gangs consider you black, right?
Yeah, because I was in a black car. They couldn't do nothing. I couldn't sit in the area unless I asked them. I couldn't cross through I couldn't even be in the cell with them. I couldn't live in the cell with them. I had to have a black dude in the cell with me at all times. I couldn't eat at the tables. We had a black table in the chow hall. Midwest sat in our own section. But yeah, I couldn't. Basically, it was, to me, it was fake politics in Phoenix. Because I had some good homies there, man. I call them homies, even though they were Aryan Brotherhoods. I explained myself to them how I grew up. And they explained themselves how they grew up and how their thinking became because of their lifestyle and their family. And I used to ask them all the time, how can you not be in a cell with a black dude or someone in a black car, eat with them, work out with them, but you listening to black music on your MP3? You got the white TV on BET. You see what I'm saying? You watching black.
Well, they had the white TV on BET.
Yeah, and Bounce.
And Bounce, okay. I mean, I've seen.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why I say it's fake politics, and I think times is changing. Because I ran into black Serranos there. I ran into a black bulldog that was there. He was from Fresno. I ran into black Paisas. Everything was weird there. You know what I mean? It was weird.
I never seen a black Serrano. I've seen some black Norteños, but never Southsiders.
Yeah, there was 2 black Serranos there, and the black people, they didn't really like that. They always talked a lot of trash about it. But me, didn't care. I couldn't say that. I couldn't call the kettle black. I knew my situation. My thing was I was watching my car before I watched the next car. Because I knew how the Crips and Bloods felt about people from Chicago. Because the GDs took a knee in Victorville when the Crips got into it with the Serranos, they took a knee. So now nobody likes a lot of us from Chicago and the feds in the West Coast. That was told to me by a couple Crips.
Any white dudes talk shit about you behind your back, and the other white dudes tell you like, "Yo, man, dude."
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm talking about every white dude I seen had a Nazi sign on him, the Hitler sign, and all of them was cool. I kicked it with all of them, and they would tell me they didn't like each other. They fought against each other. They would talk behind each other's back, and I'd be right there listening. You know what I mean? It was weird.
Unbelievable. I mean, I've seen a lot of shit, but I know what it's like, man. You didn't make it to the penitentiary. You were in the FCI, but I mean, there's plenty of FCIs that are popping, and that's that's what the politics are. I know you said you met a young lady, man. You got married. Living your best life now, or what?
Man, I should have owned a house 30 years ago. I got out the feds, which actually caused some problems. Got out the feds, wasn't out a month, bought a house, $150,000 cash. Bought 2 new cars, everything. If you look behind me, I got 158 pair of Jordans hanging on the wall. The feds want to know where I'm getting all this money from. So they put a bracelet on me because I didn't have receipts and couldn't prove my income. But they took the bracelet off last month. So now I got to turn in all check stubs. I work a full-time job. I'm just living a life, man. I call it the white life. I don't deny my race. I'm white. My dad's Mexican. I'm a white boy. I don't do the politics. I don't do the racism. You know what I mean? I was cool with everybody in the feds. I didn't care if you had a Nazi sign on you. If you was cool with me, because like I said, I smoke cigarettes with... I've asked a lot of them too. Why do you smoke with me, eat out my bowl, and drink out my cup of coffee? Because you ain't black. That's exactly what they say. But don't let the next person, the rep, know that you did this. Because you're in some trouble.
You say the rep, I want people to know that that's the guy that's like the shot caller, so to speak, for the year.
Yeah, the rep. Yeah.
He finds out that some white dude is drinking off of your bowl, your cup, being that he would, his prison politics, he would consider you black. So he'd be like, yo, that's definitely a violation, and a violation to the point where they're going to commit some physical violence against that individual because he drank off your cup, right?
Exactly. Because Phoenix to me, they call it go home. They call Phoenix a go home yard, but it's popping. They got fake politics there. They got guys that's never been nowhere. I haven't been nowhere. Cook County, the most dangerous I've been to. Federal penitentiary, I ain't been nowhere. Don't want to, don't care. That's not my life. I shouldn't have been in the penitentiary and the feds. It's just something, a fluke that happened by me coming over here. The feds picked it up. But I've heard a lot of stories about, like, I watch your show every day. Me and my wife love this show. We watch stuff tonight off your show. Blood on a Razor Wire. We watch it every day after work and eat. The stories are good. The stories are good that people tell me in the penitentiary, in the WAC, in FCI, but I don't care. I don't need to go to those prisons to see what it's like. I know if I go to a USP, they may be some issues because I'm white, but I'm also older and I carry myself respectful. I've always been respectful, so I've never had problems while I was in FCI.
You're not going to have any issues, man, because, you run with a black gang and that's, you're going to, you choose your side. And if there was ever a race riot, you probably would be one of the dudes where they're like, he's the first dude we're getting. And they look
right.
like he's straight or whatever. I mean, that's prison. But it is what it is. You seem like an all right dude to me. I definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. What's going to keep you out of prison, man?
Clean and sober and staying focused. I have no associates. I don't talk to nobody outside of work. I don't leave my house unless me and my wife go shopping or go out to the mall or buy some shoes or a movie or something. I got an 8-foot fence around my house. Can't even see over it. I got cameras everywhere. I don't associate with nobody. I'm not going out to eat with nobody. This town here is considered a brown town. It's a border state. Why would I hang out with you and go to clubs and I don't drink or go hang out at your house when I know if I was in prison with you, what you'll do to me? You'll be riding Paisa. You'll be running Paisa and want to get me.
Listen, man, it's all good, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, your experiences. Anything you want to say before we go?
I do want to say that I appreciate your show. There is an AB that I was real cool with, named Mark Brannon. I don't know if you heard of him. He's been gone since 2002. He's been in Victorville, USP for a long time. He just gave a bunch of time back. He go home 2026. Solid dude, man. Told me all about the penitentiary. AB crazy. He's from Cali. I was with him in Florence while he was fighting this case. He came back on a court writ. And I used to hang out with him. Me and him became cool because we got in a fight because he didn't like that I rode black. After that, we was homies, you know what I mean? Took that. He explained a lot to me about the area and stuff and how the penitentiary was. And I know he ain't watching this. He ain't got no way of watching it. But yeah, I give a shout out to that homie. Even though he's AB, he's solid.
Well, definitely, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Share the channel. If you like what we're doing, hit that like, hit that subscribe button with respect. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. And until tomorrow, we're out.